Hello. Okay, excellent. Thank you, Carola, for the introduction. And hello and welcome everyone to this dedicated event on AI for tourism as part of GAIN. Thank you for joining us, and it's an honor for us to be here today with you. First, allow me to thank the Deputy Minister, Al Johara, for her inspiring keynote. You really inspired us with what you're planning for the tourism sector in terms of AI opportunities across the board and across stakeholders. And you give us also energy and drive that the leadership of this sector wants to embed AI in the DNA of the ecosystem. The ecosystem is not only public entities, but also private sector, anyone that is working in the tourism sector in the kingdom. For now, our panel discussion, our first panel discussion for the day is titled AI in Action. So we want to go with our panelists beyond the hype. We want to discuss impactful AI applications from destination marketing to visitor attraction to creating innovative tourism offerings and much more. By a quick intro, I'm Osama Ahmed. I'm a managing partner at Artifact, and I lead our global travel and tourism practice. We help a lot of the organizations in Saudi, our partners in Ministry of Tourism and Saudi Tourism Authority, to design and implement their AI roadmaps. And alongside our panelists, thought leaders, and experts, I will pass it to you to quickly introduce yourself to our audience, and then we'll move to the questions. So Mayank.
Okay. Thank you, Sama. Very good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor to be here. It's such an amazing setting and such an opportune moment for all of us. I'm Mayank Nagpal. I represent the Saudi Tourism Authority. I head the data and insights practice at the authority. My job is simple there. Take evidence and inform decisions, if that could be ever simple, but that's what I'm trying to do. Thank you. Honored to be part of this panel.
Mr. Khalid.
Well, my name is Khalid Al-Thniyan. I'm a VP of Digital Transformation. I'm responsible to lead the digital transformation, the coastal tourism in the Red Sea, along with our colleagues in the tourism sector. We have big ambitions in the Red Sea. It's a very long coastal on the east side, where it has 1,800 kilometers, where it has more than 3,000 assets that we need to transform digitally, and we regulate it for coastal tourism activities.
Thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Artemi, and I'm part of the Microsoft Saudi Arabia. My role is to really focus on industry. Because of my background, I've been in Europe in the different parts, and I worked with the different ministries of tourism all over the globe. As example, we have launched the Digital Estonia, etc. So my role is really to bring the latest and the greatest, and to cooperate with our esteemed customers in the country to go to the next level.
Mr. Joy.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Joy from Amadeus. Happy to be here, really an honor. So Amadeus, as a technology company, plays across the travel ecosystem. And we also work very closely with Saudi Tourism, NEOM, Red Sea, with our digital and business intelligence products. Really looking forward to this discussion.
Thank you, and welcome again to this panel. Let's kick off the discussion with a very interesting fact to show you the astounding growth of the tourism sector in Saudi. So last year alone, Saudi hosted around 27.4 million international visitors, representing a 65% growth over the previous year. And this just put things in perspective. This puts Saudi ahead of countries like Portugal, Brazil, and Australia. And a major cause or reason for this is all the brand building and positioning of Saudi as a touristic destination on the global map that Saudi Tourism Authority and that the ministry is doing. So I will like to start with Mayank. How are you using AI to build this tourism brand for Saudi and to bridge the perception gap about the country to your international visitor segments?
Perfect. Thank you, Sama. On the surface, this question might sound like it's a technology question, but I think it's a human question. Let me take a moment to go back and think a little bit about what makes these beliefs. So if you go back in time, humanity has always been connected, which has been making the beliefs come around. From the trade routes where people learned about what other destinations are about, what the world is about. From the advent of internet, when we started exchanging information, so the network started creating the knowledge and beliefs to start coming. Be it culture, be it societies, there's a connection and a deep-rooted belief which has been shaping the way people think about something. So our job at the Saudi Tourism Authority is actually not just about changing perceptions. It's about ensuring that the true reality is being presented to the world so that we can shape the perception, shape the view to what it is. It is to create a compelling proposition to ensure that the choice, when the consumer is thinking about a choice, we come up in that choice for what we stand for. Now, we're talking about AI, and I'm talking about a different topic altogether. Let me tell you why I brought all of that up. With AI, what has been happening right now, there's a fundamental shift in terms of how these belief systems are coming. In the past, or till about recent past, consumers were consuming information which was coming from the source. Now, they could consume information which is not coming from a source. It's being generated in a system which is perhaps can be abused. If you think about this entire dilemma, we are actually sometimes, we used to say that we are buying from bots. Now, we might have to sell to bots because those bots are the ones who are making the choices for us. It's an interesting dilemma that we're sitting with. And of course, as the entity which is responsible for promoting the destination, we cannot just sit and experience this change happening in front of us. We have to do something about it. So our systems start with first understanding the consumers itself, which is, of course, rooted in the traditional methods or the conventional methods of segmentations and so forth, but we cannot do it in the manner, or should not continue to do it in the manner that was done in the past. So we're infusing real-time data to actually learn more about the segments to make it more hyper-personalized. This hyper-personalization is critical to ensure that the consumer which we're talking to is being delivered the message that the consumer is seeking there. So that becomes the first part of solving the problem. The second part happens is that when the choices are being made, now the path to purchase is also very convoluted. It's not that I go to a travel agent and the person gives me an itinerary and I follow that itinerary. I am learning about the destination from different touch points. The democratization of Gen AI has made all these tools available in our pockets, and we're just checking, and like before the destination, when I arrive, where to eat, what to do, etc. All of this has to be controlled and intercepted, where we have a responsibility to present the authentic face of Saudi, to present the true face of Saudi in the midst of all of this noise, back to the consumers to ensure we can give them the experience that they are actually seeking from us. We can deliver the promise that we gave them. So that's really the approach that we're taking towards targeting the consumers that are changing the perception that you spoke about.
Thanks a lot for giving the dilemma and how you're approaching it. I saw this actually in action and invite you all to check the last campaign video about Welcome to Arabia that was launched by the Saudi Tourism Authority, and it really hits on those points, the real or the authentic experiences in Arabia. So now that we know how important for you is to shape the perception and shape the brand and personalize it to the segments, I will move to Artemi. Microsoft, OpenAI has revolutionized the space of content creation, content personalization at scale, even at user level, at individual level. So can you tell us more about how AI can be used for that content creation and content personalization to the right segments to attract them to Saudi?
Of course, and I think I will build on what you have just mentioned about how you target the customers and what you're trying to achieve. So first of all, I'll start maybe about the whole journey that we need to make with AI to really find the person who we need and what we need to deliver to that person. First is, of course, building on the insights. So all about the data, and now we have just seen the presentation how the data points will be gathered all across the country. First of all, it's important to put all these together and start the analysis to really see who is coming, how is coming, what is the time spent, what are the demographics, and all the different interests of the tourists as well. If we have the solid foundation in terms of the data, so basically who is coming from where, then we can start already predict. And exactly how you have mentioned, we really need to target the people so we can predict whom to target. And by that, we can significantly raise the chance of the positive reply of that person. So if the first step is the data gathering, insights, analysis, the second is predictive analytics. So let's see, and we have created the beautiful products and the dashboards to really analyze the demographics of the tourists. From where you can see which region is preferred by the couples, by the singles, what age, what are the travel preferences, and then by that we can move already to the next step, to the targeted marketing. And exactly where the AI or Gen AI steps in, and I'll tell about it later as well. So in target marketing, we combine the first two steps, the data and everything what we know, and we really analyze whom we would like to bring. And that can depend on the time of the year, on the social media, on everything, and can be tailored. So maybe we know that this type of the demographics is better to be attracted to Jeddah in September, and then we automatically build the campaigns on top of that, including all the social media, including the sales channels, etc., etc. And what is beautiful then, when it is done, we can do real-time adjustments as well. Because we have all the data and we automatically can see how it lands with the people, how it lands with the tourists. And then we can adjust immediately. It can be adjusted all by our own preferences and interests, or by the feedback from the tourists as well. Maybe we see the big influx from the neighboring country because of their holiday, and we can change the agenda, we can change the routes, we can do everything. So basically, in all these 4 steps, AI can play the crucial role. And for that, and we have discussed already just a little bit before, that it's all about the Tourist 360. Really knowing, and how you have just presented to us, really having the information on tourists from the beginning till the end. And not from entering the country, but actually way before that. Because people start searching far in advance, and if we reach at the right time, the right people, the success is way higher.
So Artemi, thanks for highlighting these points, and definitely AI is a major enabler in identifying these segments at the right time, with the right content, targeting them with the right content and the right channel. So now that we know that AI can be used for this, we need to also ensure that, so demand is coming, we're trying to attract visitors, now we need to ensure supply. And when we talk about supply, the first step I would say are airlines and accommodation. So I'll turn to you, Joy, and maybe from your experience at Amadeus, you're the largest tech partner for aviation and hospitality industry. So can you tell us more about how AI can give insights to these types of establishments to ensure the supply is there and the tourist experience is optimal?
Thank you. I must say that we are in deep technology partnership with Microsoft, and I'll give some examples as we progress. And so, AI has always been used in Amadeus products for many years, but what's really changing the game is Gen AI, and I'll give some examples from that. So we have 2 focus: how to enhance existing products, and then how to create new products in order to reach new markets, new customer segments, so on and so forth. So, let me take an example of search. That is one of the toughest things to solve in travel, and as they say that normal traveler searches 33 times before they decide on what trip to take, what airline to take, what hotel to take. But obvious, as Mayank said, chatbot. We are incorporating chatbots into the search experience. So what's the great deal about chatbots? Because they have been in existence for a while now. So what is different is that what Amadeus is trying to do, that we have the technology in terms of booking, in terms of search, and in terms of data. And then we have content in terms of airlines, hotels, and activities. So what Amadeus is doing is incorporating this generative AI chatbot into online travel agents, meta searches, so that it not only understands the intent of the customer, his purpose of travel, what are his likes and dislikes, but it reads back the data and guides him through making a decision of what kind of accommodation or what kind of airline or what kind of activities should that traveler choose, as an example. And we are taking that one step forward in automating stuff. There is a pilot project going on in Amadeus. We have many acronyms, and this acronym is called Alpaga, which is Automated Landing Page Using Generative AI. So what it does is that it looks at the customer and then renders a website which is fully SEO optimized and gives content in terms of what is the destination weather like, what are the destination activities like within the travel network of that airline. And this is not just a hypothesis. We actually took this pilot to market. And for all those who are interested, you can go and type explore.aircorsica.com. And we have many airlines that we serve, including Air and Saudi Air. And we are seeing what we learned from this experience. The overarching aim of this Alpaga experiment is to see how we can attract and convert new potential customers, and of course, for the customer, it is a differentiated experience. So that's an example from the airline space. We also are in the airport space, as I said, that we serve across the tourism ecosystem. So we have done many airports where you see the seamless biometric system where you get out of the airport within between 2 to 5 minutes. So we have a lot of data from the airline, from the airport, and what we are now piloting is how to take that experience from the airline and the airport and take it to hotels. Because check-in and check-out are the most points of friction when you go to a hotel. You know, after a 14-hour flight, you have to give your passport, you have to give your credit card, you have to answer 5 questions, stand in a queue. So we are trying to see how we can take that friction off by carrying forward the technology which is based on generative AI. So these are some examples on the customer front, and there are many which we are working together with Microsoft on the travel provider side. For example, the PNR that a travel agent uses is a cryptic, nothing can be done, and now we are in a project called Talk to the PNR. The travel agent can talk to the PNR and figure out what was the last change made, whether the request that the traveler made to the airline has been served or not. So there are many experiments that we are doing in generative AI within Amadeus.
So Joy, thanks a lot for revealing these interesting examples of how you're using AI to shape the search experience, the booking experience of the tourist or of the customer, and then at the same time feeding that insight to the hotel or to the airline for better capacity planning as well. Okay, now that we have the tourists, let's say they booked, they came here, now we need to serve them with the right experiences.
Yes.
And Red Sea, in Saudi Red Sea Authority, you're creating a one-of-a-kind destination focused on coastal and regenerative type of activities or tourism activities. So I would turn to you, Mr. Khalid, to tell us how you're using AI to support the design and the development of these activities.
Thank you, Sam. I would like to take this opportunity actually to explain a little bit before on the coastal tourism challenges as a business before I go into AI. So I represent Red Sea Authority, and you know, as you see, the Red Sea 1,800 kilometer has all coastal activity, and everyone's seen Cristiano Ronaldo having the pleasure in the resort of the Red Sea, and all these Red Sea spaces and areas has unique places that never been seen. And for government to allow tourists and visitors to visit this location, we have to make sure the sustainability and not to change the environmental and no impact or zero impact on the environment. So we keep this location and area fresh and as good as they are right now. So the government or the central government decided to make a coastal authority that's responsible about the Red Sea, so to keep the sustainability while allowing accessibility to these locations and also promoting this location. So I'll give just 30 seconds explaining about the Red Sea Authority, what they do. Actually, we regulate navigation activity and water activities within the Red Sea region. And also we're responsible about promoting and encouraging these coastal activity within the Red Sea. And to do so, we need to work with 32 government sector to make sure these investor, operator, tourists who come to these areas, they have a seamless journey and they have sustainable one. And one of the mandates that we have is to have one-stop shop platform that will integrate all requirements of government sector into one platform. And we'll use definitely AI to make sure some of the components, which I'm going to give an example. And to that point, we're launching very soon, inshallah, the one-stop shop for the coastal tourism to make sure these activities are all regulated and managed. So speaking of AI and how can we utilize these activities, well, AI is going to be definitely play a big role in data protection for the coastal tourism. For example, today, if we want to have a vessel access some of the areas, we need to know the condition of the vessel that will not make an impact for the environment. So with AI, we can identify which vessel that will allow for certain areas where sensitivity of the environment and especially protecting the habitat on the area. So we'll utilize, of course, the AI for data. So we analyze and we understand which vehicle or vessel that will be allowed for this area. Also, AI will be definitely a help for market segmentation. We could identify which tourists that we need to promote our activities to attract these tourists to this area. Another example of AI that will help definitely making sure the protection of the environment and region. AI with, like for example, driven application with drones that we can identify the location that could be planning for capacity. So how many boats, how many vehicles can access this? Will this be allowed for wildlife areas so divers can come and dive the area? You know, some places they will have a shark, and there is some divers who love to access some sharks area, but we need to make sure these divers, they have exactly know the license they have so they can access this certain area. With AI, we can definitely make sure of these areas and make sure whether these visitors, they have the license to access that kind of area. So AI will definitely help regulator as a government sector to make sure the sustainability of the environment. Also, at the end, AI will give the visitor who visit these places alerts if there is something condition with weather to make sure their visitor come with a nice experience.
Excellent. Excellent. Allow me to shift gear here. You're talking a lot about experiences, and we know that the tourism sector is one of the most challenging because it's constantly evolving. The tourist expectations are constantly increasing. What they want, the type of experiences that they prefer is also constantly changing. So Mayank, strategizing for this sector is a difficult job, okay? And you're someone that provides data and insights to your stakeholders, whether at the tourism authority or whether at the ministry, to put the right strategy for the sector. So how are you using AI to analyze all this supply, demand data and predict the future trends of the sector in the kingdom?
Thank you, Sama. Again, like a deeper question here. We're a young sector in the country.
Yes.
So the fact that we are young, we don't have the cushion of knowing a lot what has happened in the past. So, of course, here comes a technology to our rescue. But I want to say something. There's always a running joke about that. Does AI give you a crystal ball? I like to say it gives us a black box, actually, because often what we don't know, and then the model will say this, and then you are there to find the solution for why the model said this. So we approach it differently. We could not have approached this in a way where we allow the machine learning models to be set free, because we don't have the liberty of a lot of historic data. So we look into the right drivers of what is driving tourism. We study the perceptions of the brand through the funnel. We study how consumers are engaging with our assets. We study all those signals in the market from search activity, from flight bookings and so forth, to try and bring and actually augment our ability to predict the demand. Now, one part of it is demand, but it cannot sit in isolation of the supply. So while their entire ecosystem with our colleagues in the ecosystem are creating these beautiful assets around the country, we have to start thinking about marrying this together with the demand, because the two parts which make it critical, the topic which is being discussed today in tourism extensively of over-tourism, we young destination, but we've already crossed the 100 million mark, and we also have some pockets in the country where over-tourism is a challenge. So to ensure that this demand could be married appropriately to the supply, where we could actually do the right seasonality of our travelers, do the right dispersal or geographic spread of the travelers, this is where the real-world applications of this technology come in. But that is about the hard numbers. Once the person comes into the country, we need to ensure that the experience is met. Here, again, AI has a strong role to play. We can very simply use the methods available to us today, example being natural language processing and so forth, where looking through all the reviews of the different sites, looking through the feedback that we receive from our visitor care, we run in-field feedback sessions and so forth. So bring all of this information together to actually predict areas of experience which could be either improved or need attention. That's the application when it comes to experience. Now let's think about the experience from a visitor's perspective, that we want to marry the promise that I actually said in the beginning, that we brought you for the promise. The ecosystem right now is working together to actually build almost like a unified ID for hyper-personalization to ensure that every visitor that comes in, we have a traceability of that visitor's journey and expectations, and that could be delivered to that. How it could be done? Technology again, virtual humans. So our teams are right now experimenting, building that virtual human to actually bring this solution to life, where the authentic and the true face of Saudi could be presented to the visitor, intercepted at the right moments in the journey to improve and expand their experience and enhance their experience. So applicability is extensive. We just have to be cautious about how we do it, because there is the aspect of ethics that comes in. Yep. There's this aspect of responsibility that comes in. There's this aspect of ensuring that the true face of Saudi is actually preserved as we use this technology. That would be, in my nutshell, view of saying...
You shed a lot of light on the importance of AI in shaping the tourist experience or the visitor experience and hyper-personalizing it. And I know that in Red Sea, you're also trying to do the same. You want to provide these visitors with an immersive and personalized experience in the Red Sea destination. Tell us more about how you are planning to use AI for that purpose.
Yes, so as you mentioned, or maybe even the Deputy Minister mentioned today, we have 150 million target of tourists to come to Saudi Arabia. We have 19 million in specific to have a visit on the coastal activity on the Red Sea. To have this regulation for the vessel itself is not going to be enough to bring visitor. We need to have to enhance the experience itself for our visitors to make sure they have great experience, enjoy the activity before they arrive. And the AI will play a big role in this in many cases. For example, the itinerary that will be designed and visiting some areas could be easily done by AI, by identifying, depends on the preference of the visitor itself, can identify the right routes, the right location to be visited through AI. Another example that will definitely help the visitor is using chatbots driven AI. They will give a recommendation if there's a good weather today to go and have a sailing with boats or diving areas on the area. Another point that AI can help us facilitate the communication between communities to get some feedback of what they think, and we can enhance utilize that kind of data to enhance the experience more and more, especially for environmental areas. AI can play a big role on the experience itself. It will enhance in many ways for the visitor itself and even for the government sector to have visibility of how to enhance the journey itself. Given that data from the visitor itself, with AI will give us as a government how to enhance the regulation to have an experience that will be seamless for our visitors. So AI is definitely going to be a good solution for that.
I think we all agree on the transformative role that AI can play in the tourism sector. Now, The reality of the matter is AI needs a lot of capabilities, infrastructure capabilities. It needs a lot of, as you said, historical, clean, high-quality data, right? So I will, for the sake of time, I will give you one last question to both Artemi and Joy around how your companies, tech leaders and partners of the tourism sector in this country, how can your companies enable the tourism ecosystem to adopt AI, to put AI in the DNA, as you framed it, with enriching their data sources or with giving them LLM technologies or AI infrastructure? So please feel free. Maybe Artemi, you can start.
Yep, thank you. And it's a very good question, actually. So there are different aspects, but maybe based on what we've just discussed, I'll cover the major ones. So first of all, it's generative AI. And it goes through all the narrative and through the story. Because with that, you can create the content, you can envision the customer experience, you can create completely new way how the tourists are interacting with you. Completely new, like augmented reality, like, specific tools, specific applications which they will be using to navigate in the cities, to navigate at the Red Sea. It's absolutely different. And we've tried it in the different countries. So you really raise the attention, and customers and tourists are way more enriched as well. Another one, and basically maybe it's more coming to my colleague, it's about the dynamic customer support. Because basically using, again, LLMs, generative AI, you can completely change the way how the people interact with the support. I think all of you remember the times when you spent tons of time on the phone trying to do something, change something with the tools. But just imagine if it's straightforward, if it just works. So this is the whole idea of the Gen AI that we're trying to bring to the market. And of course, last but not least, and it's more the ideation, but we definitely need to get there. It's a digital personal assistant. Again, on the top of Gen AI and everything, which will be booking for you, which will be changing for you, potentially even choosing the photos to post. So literally do everything, and all of this is already achievable now. And all what colleagues have mentioned, to a certain extent, is already implemented. We just can only enrich that and put all together. Because ideally, especially maybe as example, Red Sea, other authorities, if local businesses start to interact with each other, exchange the data, that can really bring the ultimate experience to the tourist. Because he doesn't think if that restaurant is now free or not, he will be just suggested to go there. So this is just one of the examples. Thank you.
Joy, maybe.
Yeah, so hearing to all that the users like Mayank and Khalid has said, it's absolutely evident that data is the cornerstone of any strategy, any product that you bring to the market, and you have to look at data before you do anything. So let me give an example of what we have built, because at least in Amadeus, we are providing business intelligence applications to our customers. So one of those is built using Microsoft's Azure OpenAI on business intelligence for airlines and hotels, which looks at large sets of data. So what is different is that we have incorporated natural language to call for that data, looking at booking trends, looking at occupancy forecasts in order to develop whether it's capacity planning in airlines or pricing for hotels, how people, at least our customers, are going to use AI much more conversationally, rather than spending time over large sets of data, marrying one with the other. So that is something that we have already put in production. Customers in airlines, hotels are already taking benefit from it. And maybe we will go to the next set of product using this technology.
Thank you, Joy. So I'd like to close this panel with a few takeaways based on all these insights that you gave us today. One is that AI can truly have a transformative role in the tourism sector in Saudi, whether it's shaping the brand or the perception, whether it's creating the right experiences, personalizing them, whether it's marketing to the right segments, attracting them here, or whether it's planning the right supply of experiences as well to ensure the best experience. All of this is great. It can happen. There are two enablers to this. The first one, which we discussed, right? The data, the infrastructure that will enable these AI advancements. But the second, which is, I would say, is more important, is AI is about people. So ensuring that the ecosystem, the people, the teams that are working with this within this sector adopt AI is really crucial. And that's why I invite you to attend the second panel, which will be hosted by my colleague Anthony, and that will focus with his guests on the challenges of adopting AI and ensuring that it becomes in the DNA of the organization. So thank you very much to our panelists today, and thank you for the audience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.